You're welcome. Hello and welcome. My name is Jennifer Oliver, and I am the president of the Dearborn Heights League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan national organization that encourages the informed and active participation of citizens in government. The League never supports or opposes candidates or political parties. Membership is open to everyone aged 16 years or older. We are holding this candidate forum ahead of the upcoming general election on November 8th. This forum is for a partial term seat on the Crestwood Public Schools Board of Education. The candidates are Danielle El-Zayat, Abdul Sattar Hammoudeh, Hassan Nasser, and David Williamson. This program is presented as a public service by the League of Women Voters. It is an opportunity for candidates to express their views related to their candidacy. The League of Women Voters does not certify any candidate responses to questions as accurate, and voters are encouraged to fact-check information shared at the forum. For additional information on today's candidates, please visit the League's online voter guide at vote411.org. Tonight's forum is being conducted virtually on October 11th through the Zoom platform, and the recording that you are watching has been released in its entirety. The League of Women Voters wants every eligible voter to inform themselves and to vote. If you want an absentee ballot, contact your city clerk's office. If you aren't sure whether or not you are registered to vote, or whether your absentee ballot has been issued or recorded, please visit the Michigan Voter Information Center at mi.gov/vote. Now, I am delighted to introduce the moderator of tonight's forum, Lorelei Muniz.
Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, today is Tuesday, October 11th, 2022. And we are recording this program in its entirety via the Zoom platform. As always, the League of Women Voters is not responsible for the views expressed by the candidates. The candidates have agreed to the following. The first candidate to speak has been determined randomly. Thereafter, the order of responses will be rotated. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to make an opening statement and 1 minute to answer each question. We will end with each candidate having 1 minute to make a final statement. The league timer, Alicia Mazurek, will give 15-second warnings to cue the candidates to bring their answers to a close, and will raise a card and say stop to notify the candidate when their time expires. Questions were determined by a league committee. Time will not allow for all questions to be asked. If you have more questions, we encourage you to contact the candidates whose information is available online at vote411.org. Also at 411.org are candidates' questions, written responses to league questions. There are 7 members of the Crestwood Public School Board of Education. 4 of them have terms that are expiring at the end of this year. There are 2 school board races on the ballot this election for residents living in the Crestwood School District, a full-term race and a partial term race. Each race has 2 open positions. The full-term race has 2 open positions that will expire in 6 years on December 31st, 2028. The partial race has 2 open positions that expire in 2 years on December 31st, 2024. This is the candidate form for Crestwood Public School Board of Education partial term. There are 4 candidates running for 2 open positions. The candidates are Danielle El-Zayat, Abdul Sattar Hammoudeh, Hassan Nasser, and David Williamson. All of the candidates were invited to participate in this forum, and 3 are joining us today. Welcome. The candidates have been asked to make a 2-minute opening statement, and we will begin with Ms. El-Zayat.
Oh, can I start anytime?
Yes, yes, please start.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, and thank you for having me, and thank you for hosting this forum and giving us the opportunity to do this. My name is Danielle Elzayat. I was originally appointed to the Crestwood School Board back in 2020. And this November, I'm running to retain my seat on the board for the 2-year partial term. My experience and background are rooted in serving the community. My husband and I started a local charity called the Amity Foundation 10 years ago to provide support to people in our community who needed it most. I started my career at the Wayne County Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, where in 2014, I attained the position of Chief of Staff there. Over the past 2 years, while serving as Chief of Staff, I was embedded in Wayne County's COVID response as the incident commander for the Emergency Preparedness Unit, which handled all COVID response and vaccinations. I witnessed my family struggle to keep their children and loved ones safe. And I have since accepted the Director of Health, Safety, and Security at Dearborn Public Schools position, where I've just started that, and I'm only a month in. And we are in the recovery stage today, and I believe that our schools, our staff, and our students need a lot to move them forward. And this is only the beginning. So the work really needs to be done, and I feel I'm the right person to help move the district forward.
Thank you. Mr. Hammoudeh?
Yes, hi. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everybody. And a background about myself. I immigrated to the States in 1996. I was born in Lebanon. I came to the States in 1996. I spent a few years in California where I worked for a telephone company. And late 1999, I came to Michigan when I got married to my wife, who is from Michigan. And we have 3 wonderful kids who go to Crestwood. I just finished from Crestwood, she's going to 24 right now. But Drian and Muhammad are still going to Crestwood. Drian is in senior this year, and Muhammad is in 10th grade. Both of them Charger strong. And so the reason why I am running for this position really is because my son has an IEP, which is an individual education plan. And I noticed there is a lot of, I don't want to say wasted resources when it comes to IEP, but not as targeted as I think it could be. So I from that standpoint, I wanted to run to help not only my son, but everybody else who has the same position or in as the same position as my son, whether it's a student or a parent. My background, I'm a professional. I work at GM currently, but I got my degree in engineering in 2004 from Lawrence Tech in Southfield, and I got my master's in 2018 from U of M Dearborn. And I'm currently an electrical engineer at GM. My involvement in the community is very limited due to the professional job I carry, but I tried my best. I was tutoring for a while at Lawrence Tech, which was a great experience that I was rewarded for by seeing a student flip their grades from D to A. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nasser?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I do want to thank you all for having us here today. It's truly an honor to share the stage with all of you. Quickly about myself, my name is Hassan Nasser. I am a 2012 Crestwood graduate. Immediately out of high school, I attended the University of Michigan Dearborn, completed a Bachelor of Science, and after that followed it with getting admitted to Wayne State University School of Pharmacy, where I attained my doctorate degree in pharmacy. I am currently a practicing pharmacist right now, and I take pride in developing our community. I'm a long-term resident of Dearborn Heights. My wife and I, who I met in pharmacy school, just recently got married. We bought a house about a block away from our parents, and we plan on being here for the longevity of our lives, and raising our kids here. And I speak on president of school board, Miss Danielle Elzayat. They've done a tremendous job the last few years, specifically this last year, And I shared some input at a board meeting recently that, the community has really felt a shift, and we do feel change, and I want to be a part of that change. I know that change is going to take time. And I know it's a lot of hard work, and I want to be a part of that in developing our community and our schooling for when, my future children, if God's able to bless me with some, are ready to go to school. So.
Thank you. Now we will begin with questions, and the first question will go first to Mr. Hammoudeh. What do you see as the most important issue facing the Crestwood School District and school board right now, and what solutions would you propose to address the issue?
From my standpoint, like I said, IEP is a big one. Definitely safety and security is a big one as well. The news, you hear the news every day, and we hear what's happening all over the United States with school shootings, and these are very touchy subject. People don't probably want to talk to in interviews like that, but I think that's something that need to be discussed and addressed. In addition to IEP, of course, mainly safety of our students. Money is a big subject that goes second after safety, which is, I see a lot of transparency recently that was not maybe as much before Danielle took over. But I do see a lot of, and I see things moving in the right direction. Again, thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Nasser.
Do you mind repeating the question for me one more time, please?
Sure.
I don't want to leave out any details.
What do you see as one of the most important issues facing the Crestwood District and the school board right now, and what solutions would you propose to address the issues?
Thank you. So I really predicate myself on three main points. Number one is the infrastructure of our schools. Number two is setting a framework for our children. And I don't want to get into too much details because I know I'm limited on time here. But I think number three is one of the big things. And attending school board meetings, it's becoming more noticeable. And that is, we really need the community members engaged. We need to find a way to earn the trust of our community members, earn the trust of our parents, and truly work together as a community. And they voice that a lot during the school board meetings. And it is, from the outside looking in, I mentioned that we do feel a difference moving forward, but I think that we need to bridge that gap. We got to earn their trust and communicate a little bit better.
Thank you. Ms. El-Zayat.
Yep, so thank you. I believe that there's three big issues, and those are impacting our students and the ability of the staff to deliver a quality education to them. And that is infrastructure, safety and security, and post-pandemic recovery. First, we need funding for infrastructure. We're doing a great project right now where we're adding classrooms, but that's really just a drop in the bucket. We need funding for safety and security. We want to keep our students safe. We're trying to do all we can right now. It's just that without a good funding source, it makes the job a little bit more difficult. And we definitely want to concentrate on our students' math and arithmetic scores, learning how to read and comprehension. We need to focus on that stuff because there was a lag with COVID, and the students have fallen behind a little bit, but we're working really hard to get them there. And we need to offer support to our staff to do that.
Thank you. The next question will go first to Mr. Nasser, and it is, how would you go about alleviating staff shortages throughout the district?
It's a great question. Well, I think it goes, hand in hand with a few of the points I mentioned earlier. The infrastructure plays a huge role. Teachers need to be comfortable in their environments. They need to feel safe. And another point that I think resonates too in this question is it goes back to communicating and working with the parents, whether we want to admit it or not. That there's been a trend these last few years with our students and the discipline that they have in the classrooms, and in my opinion, that starts at home. There's got to be better communication at home. I'm not sure if that's the reason why we're having issues retaining teachers, or if that's going to change, the retention rate, but I do think it plays a big role. And so I do think that communication and that link between the parents will help.
Thank you. Ms. El-Zayat?
I'm sorry, can you just repeat the question one more time?
Sure. How would you go about alleviating staff shortages throughout the district?
So staff shortages have been a major problem. And one of the problems is we can't get people to work. I don't know, it's still too new to be able to tell, do people just not want to work, or are people not finding the right fit? But recently, the superintendent and I were talking, and we were discussing a way to find out. So we need to analyze what's going on before we can fix this problem. And ways to do that are, we need to explore a variety of methods to improve retention. So why aren't we retaining people? What is going on? And we do that through surveying and data. We need to analyze the cost impact. Are we able to save money in other places where we could offer better pay to our staff? We need to, identify, reasons for regrettable turnover. What are the issues with our turnover? We do that with exit interviews, surveys, analyzing again. And we need to target employee segments where we work with management.
Thank you. Mr. Hammoudeh?
Yes. So for me, teachers are a big thing. To maintain and retain teachers is a big problem, especially when it comes to public school. I see a private school can do it better. So it probably comes to the money, sort of, and then maybe bonuses. I don't know if we can offer them bonuses, like retention bonuses. And another thing, the whole environment, like one of our colleagues was speaking about, like you need to involve parents and children as well. I think it's very important to involve the community to maintain those teachers and keep them in place. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will go first to Ms. El-Zayat. And it is, what would your role as a school board member be in preventing discrimination in the Crestwood School District, and also addressing potential allegations of discrimination?
So coincidentally enough, I just spent 1 week getting certified in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I was sent there by my employer, Dearborn Public Schools, which I was actually able to learn so much information on this subject. And I believe one of the key things that I learned on diversity, equity, and inclusion is training is a huge component. It's gotten a new buzz, DEI, but we need to develop training for it. And when we say training, we mean training on all levels. So we want to train the staff how to deal with DEI students and other DEI staff. We want to train the students on how to deal with their teachers and other admin that work in the building and their fellow students. So I believe training is a major component for that.
Thank you. Mr. Hammoudeh?
Yes, so diversity, yeah, definitely. We live in an environment that is, I would say, a tossed salad probably, but we have a mosaic of cultures that are intertwining here at Dearborn Heights. Again, IEP is a big one for me, and I think that IEP is one part of the inclusion that we need to look into. These students, they need special attention, and then to include them in everything. I think one major input would be to ask those students what they think. I mean, if a child comes home and said, "I hate third hour," well, we want to know why you hate third hour. So parents' involvement as well. Yes, definitely. We want to involve parents and get their feedback on that. So it is a community thing. Yes, thank you.
Mr. Nasser?
Yeah, so I'm gonna, echo both here. Ms. El-Zayat mentioned a great point, training, and training comes a long way. And with that, I keep harping on this subject, but the communication with the parents. Being able to communicate with the parents and having that open line will allow us to gain a little more insight about how different cultures and ethnicities go about certain aspects. And that starts with gaining their trust that starts with getting the students' trust, and that opens the door and will bridge the gap, in my opinion.
Thank you. The next question will go to Mr. Hammoudeh first, and it is, what can be done to improve overall student health, in particular, mental, social, and emotional health?
This is a great question, especially after COVID, that everybody is not sure what to do and how to deal with socially with other people. I know for my son, and he plays a lot of video games, and I think that's one way to reaching out to children. Maybe the school can offer video gaming and as a part. I don't know, Ms. Danielle, I heard this before, but I think there's some sort of e-sport that they have, but I don't know how far they went. But and now that's partial, and then you get the students to talk with each other during that e-sport. Every kids love gaming, right? So I think that's one way to get their attention. Give them an hour and then gaming, and then discuss that afterwards. What do you think about other subjects, and get them to be socialized. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nasser.
Yeah, so this topic is, a bit touchy for me. As a practicing pharmacist, I do see a lot of mental health, and I do see it starting to trickle down into our youth. And to be honest with you, I ask myself this question every single day: what can we do to make things better? Because we've seen a trend that, the age group of kids that are coming into these pharmacies dealing with these type of issues is starting to, hit our youth. And in my opinion, I think, is it too much, is it the social media? Is it too much pressure on these students from outside factors? There's got to be some type of communication, and there's got to be a line of, and it's kind of weird to say, but are we addressing social media in schools? Because a lot of those outside factors do seem to have an impact on the youth and development of these individuals. So that's my take on it.
Thank you. Ms. El-Zayat.
Yes, thank you. So this generation, this upcoming generation that we're dealing with right now, they're what we call techno natives, right? So they were born with a phone in their hand. And this is some of the problem, but whether they are or not, we can't keep harping on the phone and the phone causing anxiety issues. We need to deal with the fact that there are anxiety issues, there are social and emotional issues in the district. And I believe that we need to do that we need to fix that by creating a more nurturing learning environment. And there is a little bit, of a debate on this, because teachers are saying that, I'm not here to raise your child. You have to raise your child at home. And parents say, well, it's the opposite, because they need some of that from the school and from the teachers, which is also true. So I think it's coming to a common ground and using the best of both worlds to create that environment for the student.
Thank you. Our next question will go first to Mr. Nasser, and it is, what new ideas would you like to bring to the table for our schools?
One of my favorite points, one of the 3 pillars that I ride by, I really do feel like a framework of detailed structure for students after graduation is pivotal. And I don't know if I speak for all professionals that entered the educated path after high school, but for me, that first year in undergrad, boy, was it an adjustment, right? I had to transition from a very structured life of people telling me what I have to do, people telling me how to manage my time, to kind of just being thrown into full-time undergraduate role in a professional field. It was very difficult for me to adjust. It took me about a year to really learn about the framework of what it is to time manage and being self-disciplined and really self-taught. You have to teach yourself a lot in college. And so one of the big things is I really want to, bring that to the children's attention early on and teach them the importance of learning how to structure, time manage, and self-discipline moving into their professional field.
Thank you. Ms. El-Zayat.
So, we're doing great things every day, but I guess if I had to pick one new thing that I would do in the district is I would like to bring the students to the table more. So I feel like we have parent teacher organizations. In Crestwood District, we call it CAB. I feel like we have student Congress organizations. We have, teacher committees. But I feel like if we could just bring the students to the table in every one of these aspects and just see what they want, how they feel about things, and make them feel like they have a voice in the school that they go to, gives them a better sense of feeling like the school is home to them, rather than I'm just coming to this place to learn, but feel like they have a more vested interest in the building. And I think that would make us all work better together.
Thank you. Mr. Hammoudeh.
Could you please repeat the question? I kind of lost track.
Yes. What new ideas would you like to bring to the table for our students?
Yes, definitely. Again, from an IEP standpoint, a good idea, because I don't think everybody can be a lawyer and a doctor. I think we should bring some life skills to school again. We should under carpentry, mechanics, those kind of classes, and maybe see the students' tendency towards these classes. I think a lot of people will be enjoying probably doing handwork instead of academics. I think this is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question will go first to Ms. El-Zayat. What is your position on book banning, and how would you ensure that any effort to remove materials from school libraries undergoes a fair and transparent process?
So this issue has been, it's getting a lot of buzz lately, especially in a neighboring district. And I will say that I don't believe in book banning. I believe, though, that parents can have the option to opt in or opt out of what they want their children to read and look at and study if they're underage. The same way that we do with movies. Movies are rated G, they're rated PG, they're PG-13, rated R. So my child under 18 cannot get into a movie without a parent or adult with them. And I feel like we need to establish some type of consent like we do for books, like we do for movies. So I think that, opt in, opt out, where parents feel like they're getting more of a say in what their children are being exposed to, or what their children are able to get a hold of. I feel like this might alleviate some of the issue.
Thank you. Mr. Hammoudeh?
Yes. So in terms of books and materials, I think this is a combination. We have values. Every one of us have their own values. And I think the school, the parents, and the students should have a say in what books they should read or not read. And if they decide they want a certain line of reading, that should be a common consensus. Whether they come to that or not. I think especially in our community here, there's people from different backgrounds and values rule, I think. Thank you.
Mr. Nasser?
Thank you. So obviously a very, very delicate and difficult subject. There's no really clear cutthroat answer. But my stance on it is similar to my colleagues here, and that's there has to be a precedent of age. Age plays a huge role in this, right? We set restrictions, and I hate to bring examples like this forward, but we set an age restriction on alcohol. We set an age restriction on tobacco. We set an age restriction on guns and other things that we feel that children at a younger age cannot make an educated decision for themselves of what's appropriate and what isn't appropriate. So to me, it comes back on the age and the development and what stage of life our children are in. Obviously, we want to be inclusive to all different beliefs and all different ideas, and we have to understand that that's extremely important. But we have to send that message in a way that doesn't make people feel like they're attacked and being left out and misunderstood.
Thank you. This will be the last question before we go to the closing statement. So the last question will first go to Mr. Hammoudeh, and it is: the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that middle school and high school start no earlier than 8:30 a.m. Is this a policy you would support for our students?
Definitely, I would support that. I even would support 9 o'clock. I think the kids, especially teenagers, they need more sleep. With this age that we're having, the electronics, they stay up more than should be, unfortunately. So yeah, I do support that. Thank you.
Mr. Nasser,
Could you repeat that question for me one more time? I'm sorry.
the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that middle and high schools start no earlier than 8:30 a.m. Is this a policy you would support for our students?
For that age group, absolutely. I think when you get older, you know, time management plays a bigger role in your life. But I do think that, you know, the younger students, I do support that that start time. I mean, like my colleague Abdul said, it's important that they get the rest, they get the sleep, and you know, as long as they're getting the entire hours of schooling and that they should, I think that's what's most important.
Ms. El-Zayat.
Yes, so I truly believe that this is a change that we should work towards. I've done some reading on this, and there are so many benefits to students who start later. You know, it gives for better mental and physical health, improved academic scores, reduced risk of car accidents and injuries, because kids are actually, you know, people are driving in when they're a little more aware. And it's proven that you know, it calls for less tardiness. Kids are late less to school. Why they're able to get there on time when it's 8:30 instead of 7:30, I don't know, but the research shows that they do. So I would be for this, and it's something that we should work towards.
Thank you. It's now time for the candidates to make a 1-minute closing statement, and we will begin with Mr. Nasser.
First and foremost, thank you all so much for your time and the opportunity to come before you and share my opinion on very important topics and share my background. I truly do believe, and I'm not just saying this because, you know, both are sitting in front of me, but I do believe whatever direction the community decides to go, I do believe that our school district and our community is heading in the right direction. I do feel like all the candidates do hold tremendous amount of value and ethics. And I'm confident that no matter what decision is made, that, you know, our future is in good hands. But with that, I do still feel like I'm a pretty strong candidate. I have very good communicative skills. I love working with teams. I'm very diverse. I love learning. And with my academic and social background, I think I could bring a lot to the table. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. El-Zayat.
Thank you. So thank you for having me here tonight. And I appreciate you guys putting this forum together again. Once again, I will say that since 2020, since I've been on the school board, we've initiated some pretty hefty projects, some of them being adding classrooms to the elementary schools with infrastructure, also doing a policy overhaul, which we've just started to work on. We've approved the company who's going to help us work through that. So I'm excited, and I hope that I get the chance to continue this work with the district that we've started. We've done an emergency operations plan overhaul. We're going to start exercising kids, you know, in the schools, working with lockdowns and drilling for emergencies, far beyond the regular fire drill. So I'm excited to see this work happen, and I hope I can retain my seat and continue to do this work.
Thank you. Mr. Hammoudeh.
Yes, thank you everybody for having me. Thank you for your time. And again, I'm coming from a standpoint of a parent who has a child with IEP. And I think there's a lot of children who need special attention in school. I know the school trying their best, but I think there's a lot of room of improvement in that particular field right there. I'm not thinking this as running as a competition. I'm thinking I'm running to be a part of a team, and I want to get involved with this community that I live within. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Dearborn Heights and the communities we serve, we want to thank the candidates for participating in the forum. We appreciate the commitment it takes to run for office. To voters, please remember to vote. Every vote matters, especially in local races. The polls will open on Tuesday, November 8th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Absentee ballots are now available from the city clerk's office and are available to any registered voter for any reason. In-person voting at the clerk's office has begun. It's possible to visit the clerk's office during office hours to request an absentee ballot, vote in the office, and turn it in all in one visit. For more information, visit vote411.org and mi.gov/vote. The forum has now ended. Thank you.